What's going on, everybody? We are back here at ATB, Always Talking Ball with Tyler Noe and Lance Barton. It's been a while. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. We haven't been our usual selves lately, right? I mean, we did some March Madness stuff, and we just kind of let the clock tick by. And before you know it, man, we're up to the NFL draft. Spring games have passed us by. We've got some things to talk about. We've got some things to reflect on. We're going to talk about the great Lee Corso calling it a day after week one of College Gameday this coming year. We're going to talk about the Nico drama, what went down, where he ended up. We're going to talk about guys like Joey Aguilar, Steve Angeli, David Stone. We're even going to talk about a certain jersey retirement that you may have heard of in the news over the past week. Like I said, this is Always Talking Ball, and we are a college football podcast. If you are new to the podcast, we thank you for joining us. We're up to 725 subscribers on YouTube now. So if you're watching and not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And that would help us out greatly. We are trying to get to 1,000 before kickoff in August. So that would be sick.
Yeah, man,
if you're listening on Apple and Spotify, hit the follow button, man. Share it with some friends. We're going to be coming at you, planning on right now every week leading up to the season. Probably once July hits, maybe 2 times a week. We're going to have some guests on. We're going to start breaking some stuff down. Probably not this episode, but here in the coming weeks, we're going to do our post-spring power rankings for each power conference. We did that last year. It was super fun. We'll throw in some fun episodes, top coaches, top uniforms, like all that stuff. So, Lance, how are we doing tonight?
Doing great, man. Glad we're back talking some college foot. Like you said, there's been a lot going on. This sport never sleeps. There is no such thing as an off season anymore. With the spring transfer portal that is only a couple more days left before it closes, it's been absolutely insane because of the court case that ended up being delayed as far as the revenue sharing model being actually put into place. So I think more players ended up going into the portal this spring because of that. And I definitely think, too, as far as your spring games or lack thereof, spring games, your spring practices, whatever we want to call them, spring football in general. There's a lot of talking points that came out of that. I mean, even this past weekend, like seeing, we didn't see it. We didn't get to see the Michigan spring game, but all of the, notes that came out of the spring game, the little spring scrimmage that Michigan had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Bryce Underwood, the dude. Man, it's so fun. I've been seeing some people on social media just kind of bashing him because his so-called numbers necessarily didn't look as great.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I saw one throw that he made, and all I said was, Michigan's got a better quarterback already than what they had last year, because there's nobody on that roster last year that could have even attempted to make a certain throw like that. So yeah, just a lot of news and stuff, man, coming out of the spring ball in general.
Yeah. All right, let's start with Nico, and then let's just see where it takes us, man, from there. But you all know the drama that went down a couple weekends ago. Rumors start swirling that Nico's unhappy. It's right before their spring game. He's unhappy at Tennessee. He's thinking about entering the portal. Lance, take us through that, man. As a SEC fan yourself, obviously a Tennessee hater, being an Alabama diehard fan. Take us through kind of what you were thinking as that stuff was going down. On3 was reporting stuff. There was stuff about the family coming out, and then, man, it seems like it snowballed really quickly.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, not a Tennessee hater, and as I tweeted out from our page, Josh Heupel is a certified G.
Yeah.
From here on out, I am a very well-known respecter of Josh Heupel now, and respected him before this, but even more so now. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, man. I mean, Nico, there were some rumors that sounds like that back during the playoff time, when they had that break at the end of the season up until the first playoff game against Ohio State, that Nico's family and his representatives, aka his family, was trying to renegotiate an NIL contract for Nico during that time. Depending on what you believe or not, rumors were that they were threatening to possibly hold out of that game against Ohio State. I don't know if that's true or not.
He tried to. He went on social media a couple days ago, tried to somewhat debunk that. Like, he was kind of throwing shade at it, and had a couple pictures of him and a teammate, and this is us conspiring on how to throw this game and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, probably not a good look for him. I mean, no PR look has been good for the Iamaleava family right now.
No, man, it's not. And then, of course, this spring, it all really the reports coming out. On3 was the first to report it that that Nico and his representatives, aka his family, were trying to renegotiate an NIL contract with Tennessee. And then things just started really picking up as far as the rumors being thrown around that they were shopping Nico around. And then it sounds like that Dan Lanning at Oregon might have picked up the phone and let Josh Heupel and the Tennessee folks know that, that Nico is actively being shopped around the country to see if there was any suitors out there that wanted to pay his son, Nico, for his services to leave Tennessee to go transfer somewhere else. And so then he sits out of practice, and Josh Heupel does exactly what he should have done, man. He said, "You're gone. Nobody is bigger than this program. There is never more of a time to send a message to your current team and any players going forward. If Josh Heupel is at Tennessee, man, for the next 10 to 15 years, if he's there that long, this could be one of those moments that you look back on and say, like, this was a huge pivotal moment in his career as a head coach at Tennessee, because like he even said it, nobody, including himself, is bigger than his quotes, power T, than the Tennessee football program. And when you dismiss your starting quarterback, who was a 5-star plus talent coming out of high school, his production so far hasn't lived up to that 5-star plus talent. I mean, again, dude, Nico's good. He's solid, but like he was just, honestly, let's call it what it is. He was slightly above average last year and did not live up to the expectations that we definitely had for him, and that the rest of the country, that anybody that covers the sport of college football had for him. Again, his talent and his hype that he had coming into college football has just not overall lived up to his overall production. So yeah, Josh Heupel dismisses him from the team. Nico enters the transfer portal, and it was about a week-long ordeal. That sounds like there was not as many suitors as the Iamaleava family thought there would be for Nico.
Yeah.
Dude, when I started seeing that Tulane was supposedly, like, I have no idea if he was they were our boy John Sumrall and the Old Green Wave was ever involved, but it sounded like UCLA was a big possibility from the very beginning. That's where he ended up going. And so now he's a UCLA Bruin, and I'm not going to spend much time on it, but Madden Iamaleava, his younger brother, enrolled early at Arkansas this past year as a true freshman, 4-star quarterback out of California himself. He's now decommitted from Arkansas and transferred himself and has gone to he was basically in Arkansas just long enough to maybe take a couple classes, if that, and now he's transferred to UCLA as well.
Did you see what Hunter Yurchek said today?
I did, which you and I have talked about that before, man. Like, Hunter Yurchek, the AD for Arkansas, was basically saying that they're going to start putting things into place about, you having to pay some sort of a buyout to leave and transfer after you sign an NIL deal. Obviously, Madden Iamaleava signed some sort of an NIL deal to go to. I mean, all these kids are that are going places now. So, like, what happens when someone does that? When they've been there for a total of 2 months, like, how does that work as far as what Arkansas has already paid him?
Yeah.
What they're supposedly, I'll imagine they're completely out of having to pay him anything else going forward. But obviously, whatever money that they paid Madden Iamaleava to come to Fayetteville, I would imagine Arkansas wants that money back, since he was there basically long enough to take a nap, and he's already gone to Pasadena now to UCLA. It's just a mess, man. It's the wild, wild west.
It's completely unsustainable to continue operating in this world that we live in college football without contracts right now. And a lot of these guys, you want to be treated like adults, then you're going to get treated like adults in all realms. I've said that for as long as we've been doing this. If you want to get paid and everything, you're going to get the criticism that comes with it too. Like, everybody listening out there, everybody watching, a lot of you guys have gotten really good jobs, and when you signed on, you've gotten some really good signing bonuses. If you leave after 2 months, like you're signing something, like you're signing something at a job, right? That you're getting the signing bonus. You leave after 2 months, what's the repercussions usually, right? So
Usually pay
that's
it
what
back or
a lot of
pay a
these
certain sum
schools,
of it back.
a lot of these schools, a lot of these collectives are going to start going that avenue. Obviously, with everything with the revenue sharing coming, down the line, that is going to probably be implemented in a lot of places too. And we're going to have a good buddy of mine on at some point here in the next couple months, who's on the legal side of all this, and he's going to kind of break it down and explain it to us like we're 8-year-olds, that we can understand it.
I probably needed to be explained to me that way. So
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah.
That's
So,
okay.
but it's just like you said, man. It's the Wild West, and that's the most common used term, but it is the most accurate term of what's
Yeah,
going on right now.
and what's crazy about all this is that I mean I get it that Tennessee it's a household name. Nico is a household name in college football, but like again, man, his production, like
Yeah.
his numbers weren't very good last year.
Yeah, if you've listened to our podcast for the better part of at least a year, we're hiring a lot of guys. We've been hiring a lot of guys, and it's if we can hit a 50-50 hit rate, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
But 2 guys we were mainly high on that. We'll put the Josh Pate clown nose on, and it remains to be seen with both of them right now. But right now, we'd put the clown nose on for Jackson Arnold and Nico.
Yeah.
Production just didn't live up to the hype that a lot of people put on him, but obviously, us, focusing here at ATB, we put on them too. But who knows, man? I mean, you know, Jackson Arnold going to Auburn could have great production, and Nico going to UCLA could get things rolling. I mean, my thought is it's a downgrade for Nico for sure. Like you're going from Josh Heupel's offense and Tennessee's offense, and the things that they came out with and they said were the reasons for leaving.
Dude.
That they wanted Heupel to fix the O-line right, and then assure that they were going to get more weapons at receiver. And we're talking about an O-line again that blocked for the SEC Player of the Year, right, and Dylan Sampson. And we're talking about wide receivers. Past couple of years, and since Heupel's been there, they haven't had any issues at wide receiver. They had issues with the quarterback getting them the ball. They would have beat Alabama last year by a lot more than 7 had he just been a little more accurate getting the wide receivers the ball. So
Yeah, I mean, dude, he was cheeks. He was cheeks at Arkansas. I mean, he was one of the. I mean, the Tennessee defense was the best defense that we've seen at Tennessee in many years. This past year, and their problem was not the defense. Their problem was not Dylan Sampson running the football. Their problem was the passing game.
Yeah,
and so I mean, it's just your Josh Heupel. I talked about this many times last year, this past season. Every year, but 1 year since Josh Heupel's been a head coach, he had a top 10 offense, like total offense and scoring offense in college football. Now we'll make that 2 years because this past year was the second.
Yeah.
So he's had plenty of success at UCF as a head coach. He had plenty of success as an offensive coordinator before he became a head coach at UCF when he was at Mizzou as an OC. He's had plenty of success, obviously as an offensive coach. And then he's going to UCLA, a guy that personally I respect a lot, and I know that the folks in the coaching ranks respect a lot. But offensive coordinator Tino Sunseri, this is his first year as a offensive coordinator and at the power level in college football. He was a quarterbacks coach at Indiana last year with our boy Coach Siggs. So, I mean, maybe UCLA ends up lighting it up, and the joke will be on 98% of the people, including us, that have been kind of making fun of the LeVar Ball mid family here, the Iamaleavas. And maybe Nico goes out and lights it up at UCLA. But I'm with you, man. I mean, the talent level is going to be less at UCLA around him. The offensive line, the wide receivers, the tailbacks, the offense in general. I just don't know how that it's going to be necessarily like right now how we can say this is a win for Iamaleava on the field. Don't even get me started on the money part.
Yeah.
I mean, $2 million per year is what he was raking in at Tennessee, and at no state income tax state. And now he's at one of the highest state income tax states in California, making less money.
Yep.
So that didn't go well on that front.
I told you, like, part of me feels bad for some of these players. Like, the people they put around them, people that are advising them, if they don't have like a legit agent, like he obviously doesn't, and they're just getting bad advice from people. And
Dude, all he had to do was listen to ATB. It would have hooked him up with our boy Adam Pappas, man. Adam would have took care of him.
I know.
Shout out Adam at Next Sports.
If this sounds like we're backtracking on like all of our Nico predictions, it's because we are. It's because we are.
Hey, we ate Crow, man. We said he was going to be really all that stuff.
Yeah. We'll hold out on Jackson Arnold at Auburn. We'll see what he does in that offense this year. So you're talking about all this quarterback stuff, and obviously Nico is in that class of 2023, right?
Yeah, it was like Nico 5-star transferred, Jackson Arnold 5-star transferred, Dante Moore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of UCLA, Dante Moore, who's now at Oregon, about to start for Oregon, 5-star, is transferred. I don't know if I'm sure there's others that we're not thinking of that have ended up transferring, but who is a name? It's kind of got a household name. Yeah. Who's the only 5-star out of that class that has not transferred?
Yeah, it's a pretty famous last name. 7 letters, starts with an M, ends with Anning. Yeah, I mean, Arch Manning, only guy that hasn't transferred, and because he's Arch Manning, right, with the last name, because he plays for the Texas Longhorns, who not a lot of opposing fan bases care for. When his play on the field, like, he's going to get a lot of hate. Like, he's just going to get a lot of criticism and everything. Everything off the field with this dude so far should be praised. Like, for everybody who loves college football and the way it used to be, and guys sticking it out and waiting their turn in the program, like, he should be praised for. Like, he sat behind Quinn Ewers for a couple years, and Quinn Ewers, decent college quarterback, like, really good, got him to the semifinals 2 years in a row. But I'm excited to see what Arch does with Texas this year on the field. But just like, and I think just imagine the pressure that comes with having that last name.
Yeah, he's been dealing with it his whole career.
Yeah. And like, I mean, you talk about Peyton and Eli, right? And Archie even, but Peyton and Eli, I mean, like, just seemed like consummate professionals off the field and always doing the right things and everything. So just to have that pressure and then try to back it up on the field, like, he's going to get his criticism, fair share, right or wrong, whatever. I just think we should be giving this dude a little more credit. When you look at the other guys in his class, who a lot of them have just made fools of themselves so far. I mean, was Jaden Rashada in that class?
Probably. Like, I saw something. Maybe it was like Big Cat at Barstool was talking about it, like, went through, I think it's like the top 10 quarterbacks in that class, like all of them, except I think Arch Manning have transferred.
But what's the difference? What's the main difference? I mean, look at the guys he has advising him. He's got Peyton and Eli first and foremost, right? He's got those guys. I mean, good people around him. Like, surround yourself with good people out there, and you'll make good decisions.
Now, I don't disagree, man. And
I'm gonna preach.
Another thing on Arch. We're not trying to. What's the phrase the kids use today? Glazing, whatever. Yeah, like, sometimes we get accused of that of certain players or coaches. But somebody hits that up in our comments, I always just laugh. But we're not trying to glaze here on Arch Manning. But have you heard anything negative, bad, anything? Seriously, think about that. Like, there are plenty of like people, publications out there. Like, it's our society. People want others to fail. That is just how this works. People are just preying on others' failures. And so they can go report it and write about it and just, blow it up on social media. That's just the world we live in now. Dude, there's been nothing negative said about Arch Manning as a person, as a player. And like you said, I mean, that just reflects it, man. Like, obviously, he's got a lot of good people in his corner. And he's done a really good job himself of just waiting his turn. And I think he's going to probably reap the benefits of that in Sark's offense this year at Texas. Obviously, the hype surrounding him this year is through the roof. So, all right, enough glazing on Arch. Who else we got?
No, let's catch up on some transfer portal talk, man.
Right.
I think today might be the last day on April 22nd. One of these days here coming up is the last day to enter into the portal. It's been madness. Like, it's not as crazy as it is in December, but I think this April session has been crazier than last spring.
100%.
It's just, man, I just can't. It's just wearing me down, honestly. Like, it's just the news coming out every single day
Yeah.
You got guys who literally just went to the portal and went to new places and got there in January, and then they're back in the portal. Like I don't understand. It's honestly really hard for me to comprehend. Like
Our boy K Ford ratings, Kelly Ford, he said it best, man, not too long ago. He said, they asked him something about spring portal, and he just said, I don't care at all. When
Yeah.
rosters are actually like mostly set, because they were talking about when does he start working on his ratings and things. He was talking about when they're mostly set after the
Yeah.
spring transfer portal, he'll start caring more then.
Mhm.
I'm starting to get that way too, man. I'm not trying to be like, I know it's a sport that never sleeps and the news never sleeps. There's a reason we haven't done an episode in here in a little while. Like, I just don't care to come on here on a weekly basis and talk about, oh, so and so's back in the portal, so and so's back in the portal.
It's
Like,
almost impossible. It's almost impossible to do it because like you said, you can't do it until the rosters are set.
No, you can't. And I will say this though, the only thing that does excite me a little bit of the spring transfer portal is the only thing. It's not the numbers, the whatever it is, thousands of players that enter the portal. It's the ones that actually do move the needle and make a big difference in, like, there's players that are committing still right now, like as we speak, like this week, that will make a huge difference for a conference championship, playoff contender, national championship contender.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Nico. The flip side of that is who's going to be the quarterback at Tennessee, and it looks like it might be they're just trading quarterbacks. Joey Aguilar, who was at Appalachian State, he transferred to UCLA and was slated to be the starter at UCLA. Had a really good spring, and then they bring in Nico. So Aguilar hops in the portal, and dude, everybody blew up social media and said Josh Heupel and Tennessee have a chance to do the funniest and just like I kept putting the popcorn meme on the Twitter, like, please get in that. Within it was like an hour, it seemed like.
Mhm.
They announced he's in the portal, and then he commits to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now,
awesome.
what I want to talk about here though with him, like everybody is just talking about just the whole trade, the drama of the situation, and all of that. I haven't heard a lot of people yet talking about what actually Tennessee is getting in Joey Aguilar. So, what is Tennessee getting in Joey Aguilar? He first off is the single season record holder at Appalachian State for passing yards and passing touchdowns in a season in 2023. So he holds the record at Appalachian State. I think he's a solid quarterback, man. Honestly, the production that Nico put out last year, I think Aguilar can put out that production for Tennessee this year. I do. I think he put up that same type of production. It's just, can he compete week in and week out at the P4 level and against SEC competition? They play Syracuse in the non-conference, solid non-conference team. Can he compete week in and week out with teams like that? Josh Heupel has done a wonderful job with quarterbacks in his career. I mean, if you think about it, Hendon Hooker was basically a cast-off at Virginia Tech. He turned Hendon Hooker into probably a Heisman candidate if he doesn't tear his ACL in that South Carolina game. I mean, Hooker put up incredible numbers. Joe Milton was just absolute cheeks at Michigan, and nobody thought he'd ever play again. And then, was he great at Tennessee? No. Was he solid? I think they won 9 games when he was their quarterback. They went 9-3 when Joe Milton was the quarterback. They won like 11 games with Hooker, counting the bowl game and stuff. So Josh Heupel's done a wonderful job with quarterbacks in his career. If you're Joey Aguilar, you just seriously hit a home run with the situation that you're in. You went from probably playing in front of about as many people that are on this podcast right here too, playing in front of about 2 people in the Rose Bowl, to now you're going to be playing in over 100,000 fans and on Rocky Top in Tennessee, one of the best home atmospheres in the country, playing in the Southeastern Conference in the SEC, making more money on NIL money, playing in a better, more quarterback-friendly offense, playing for Josh Heupel, have more talent around you, and then you've got an entire fan base and a community that is literally starving for you to be the man.
Yeah.
So he's got a chance to be a borderline folk hero at a great place like Tennessee and Rocky Top. Like you said earlier, see, I'm not a Tennessee hater, I'll admit it. But he's got a chance to be a folk hero there. Now, on the flip side of that, he could go there and fall on his face and he not be the guy, and it ends up being probably the freshman, McIntyre, who was a high-ranked freshman coming out of high school. It's a true freshman. But I think Aguilar is probably going to end up being the starter. Kid can play. It's just a matter of what is he going to look like at this level.
I feel like expectations they're not super high. Like, I think just with all of the Nico drama, they're glad to have him out of there. They're glad to have a guy, come in and compete for the job. Like, I think they're lower than they were when Nico was there. So that's the good.
Their win total dropped from 9.5 to 8.5.
Yeah.
Tennessee's did. So I thought that was interesting. And I was looking at Tennessee's schedule earlier today because I'm like, what does this mean for Tennessee's schedule this year, going forward? I've got it pulled up here. Honestly, so Tennessee in the last 3 years, you and I talked about this last year, especially after they lost to Ohio State in that game, in that playoff game. The home road dichotomy for Tennessee is among the biggest difference in all of the Power Four, especially of your top 15 programs in college football. Tennessee's really, really good at home in Knoxville. They've lost one home game in the last 3 years. That was to Georgia. They have, but they've lost multiple road games over the last few years. You saw them lose on the road last year to Arkansas. They lost in the Swamp a couple years ago. They obviously got drilled by Ohio State this past year. So you're looking at I know their win total is 8.5, but if Aguilar is just solid, they get Georgia at home. You'll love to answer this question. Do you think Georgia's anywhere near as unbeatable or anywhere near as far as going into the season right now? Most of the time, the last few years, Kirby Smart and when Nick Saban was at Alabama, going into a season, you pretty much looked at that game on the schedule for most teams and said, yeah, you're probably not winning that game. Tennessee getting Georgia at home in Rocky Top, do you look at that game right now as we sit here today and say Tennessee just flat out can't win that game?
No.
Agreed. So there's that. Yeah. So there really comes down to, again, these road games. They're at Florida. They're at Alabama, at Mississippi State, and they play Syracuse and Atlanta. So, really, their only road games are at Mississippi State. They should win that game. At Alabama, obviously, it would be tough. At Kentucky, they've had Kentucky's number and Mark Stoops' number for a few years now. And at Florida, where they've had a tough time winning. If they just win all their home games and go 1-2 in those games, that's a 10-2 record.
Yeah.
And they're in the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
So, honestly, looking at Tennessee's schedule, Joey Aguilar has a chance. If he just plays solid, good football, Tennessee can match what they did last year with Nico and go 10-2 and make the playoffs. And obviously, once you get in the dance, who knows what can happen.
Yeah, stay tuned. Later in the year, we're going to do our best case, worst case scenarios for every Power Four team. So Tennessee will be one to keep an eye on. It'll be fun to.
I'm going to make you do season win totals too, even though you said you didn't want to do them again. I'm going to make you do them again.
I'm just beaten down over the last couple of years on season win totals.
Let's stay at the most important position in all of sports, the quarterback position. I know you, as a Notre Dame fan, probably were. It was probably twofold, man. You were obviously probably a little bit sad to see him go because he's been just solid as a rock and a good leader in the locker room. And when his number was called each time, we're talking about Steve Angeli. We tried to tell you folks a couple months ago that everything that we had been hearing coming out of Notre Dame and everything we'd been hearing from people that actually matter, like Kirk Herbstreit, that old C.J. Carr was a superstar in the making. And C.J. Carr backed us up and backed up folks that have been saying that, and he ended up beating Steve Angeli out in spring ball. So Steve Angeli's in the transfer portal. What's your thoughts on that, our fellow Irishman?
Yeah, unless it's Kenny Minchie who's beating out C.J. Carr, but I don't think that's the case. Yeah, obviously everyone saw Angeli come in against Penn State. That was kind of, if he didn't have that drive, who knows where his career goes, right? So, and honestly, when you take a look back at that drive, obviously it was a big drive for them, but he still took 2 sacks and had a fumble. So you kind of you break down the drive play by play. You're like, was this really good? He got him in position. Good job. Everything coming out of Notre Dame and South Bend before the spring game was Angeli was in the driver's seat. He was the leader in the locker room, he was the voice, right? Obviously, wasn't as talented as C.J. Carr. Everyone was looking forward to seeing him in the spring game. He's not as athletic as Kenny Minchie. So they both played. All three of them played in the spring game. They all three played well. Freeman and Denbrock gave us no clue, no answers at all. They're keeping the competition open. Obviously, behind closed doors, though, it seems like they either told Angeli and Carr and everyone like, "Hey, this is the direction we're going," or Angeli saw the writing on the wall himself, which might possibly be the case because obviously the kid's got good awareness. He's going to graduate from Notre Dame too
Yep.
here in a month. And first place that he is going to visit, I believe,
Your boy.
Syracuse and Fran Brown, which did wonders for Kyle McCord last year after he left Ohio State. So if Angeli goes up there, plays for Syracuse, they've got a lot of guys returning. They ended the year on a high last year, beating Miami at the end of the year. You just mentioned them playing a new quarterback in Tennessee in Atlanta that first game of the year. That might be a sneaky good game if you got Angeli versus Aguilar in that first game.
Yeah, I don't disagree, man. And I think that you hit the guy. I want to like touch on the just Marcus Freeman, Denbrock, like that part of this with obviously the transfer portal. I think either one of these two things happen. I think that what you said is probably right. It's probably the more right thing here is that they got out of spring ball. Angeli's got 1 year left. This is his last year of eligibility. If he doesn't feel like that if he himself doesn't feel like that he's going to be the starter or that it really is up in the air, like he's not the absolute, like I'm the starter, then he's got to make a decision. And the decision he made was to leave. And because I obviously think that he obviously wasn't named the starter. The other flip side of this is did Marcus Freeman and Mike Denbrock sit him down and tell him, like, very honestly tell him out of respect for him with the fact that this is his last year of eligibility. And obviously we've seen nothing to tell us from Marcus Freeman that he's not the type of man that would do something like this. Like he seems like the type of coach that would to sit down and tell a young man like that, very honest with him like a man and say, hey, like we want you to have the opportunity to do what you want to do here in your last year of college football. We appreciate everything that you've done here at Notre Dame. We want you on our team. We want you in this locker room, and you can come back here during the fall and still compete for this position. But right now, CJ's leading this position. CJ's leading this position, leading this race right now. So you do with that information as you will, and if you would like to transfer, you will have nothing but support from us to help you land somewhere that you want to land, like that type of deal. Like I could see them doing something like that. It's probably a combination of the two, more than likely. But you're right, man. If it's Syracuse, I think that's a perfect fit after what they just did with Kyle McCord, like you just talked about. Or could somebody end up coming in late that maybe they don't love their quarterback, their situation right now, and giving him a shot? But dude, I haven't seen really. Have you seen anything? I saw some Tennessee smoke at the beginning, but I think that was more just some people just assuming at the time that it was Tennessee. But I haven't seen anybody other than Syracuse for him right now.
No, man, it'll probably be someone with a lot of money like Texas Tech or something like that. I don't know, but
they love Baron Morton though. But yeah. But I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, someone out of the weeds probably. So,
my favorite move so far, man, that I think that makes the biggest difference right now of this offseason in the spring. Jaden Ott.
Yeah.
Running back out of Cal. Man, former 1,000-yard rusher.
Who says running backs aren't valuable?
Dude, this Oklahoma offense, man, is going to be dangerous.
I've heard that before with Jackson Arnold and 5 wide receivers.
I know, but if we'd all known that they were going to be stupid and go to like more of a pro style and
they're going to get hurt and have no healthy receivers.
All 5 wide receivers were going to literally starting their top 5 wide receivers hurt. Yeah. Their whole offensive line hurt. It would probably have been a little easier to predict that they weren't going to be very good.
Well, the running game has been somewhere where Oklahoma's struggled since Venables has been there.
Yep. And this is a huge pickup, dude. Like, when this happened, like when Jaden Ott entered the portal for Cal, along with literally, if you even like acted like that maybe you wanted to be a running back at Cal, maybe if you were even a student at Cal and you were thinking about, I might want to go play running back, you entered the transfer portal as well. Do they have, what was it, like 4 or 5 running backs on the 5 running backs
within
on the
like
roster?
48 hours? Yeah.
Yeah. They must not like
not to mention losing Fernando Mendoza. There's
They got Brian Harsin calling plays there.
I was gonna say there's one common denominator there that nobody likes playing for.
Yeah, they must not like playing in that Brian Harsin offense there. That's interesting. But honestly, man, like I know for all the bad things that there are out there about the transfer portal, the Steve Angeli thing that we just touched on a minute ago, I think's really good. I think that's he's a graduate. He's going to have a chance to go play somewhere. Jaden Ott has been a dog at Cal.
Yeah.
Dude's a stud, superstar, and he's been honestly kind of buried under the radar at Cal. No offense to the Calgorithm, but like just call it what it is. He's just been really good at a kind of a lower tiered program, power program like Cal. Now he's going to have the opportunity to tote the rock in this new offense at Oklahoma that is going to be so good with John Mateer at quarterback. They've got solid receivers around him, and now they've got a legit running game and a legit threat at the tailback position in Jaden Ott. Man, if he can be healthy, I just think that is a huge, huge pickup and one that we could be looking at come November. And if Oklahoma's sitting there making a little noise with their tough schedule that they've got, and they're winning some of those games, and all of a sudden you look up and go, dang, Jaden Ott's like leading the SEC in rushing right now. Like, what a pickup that was.
Yeah, Oklahoma could be sneaky solid here. Let's go hurry up tempo here with the rest of these. Let's start with Dave Stone, who stayed at Oklahoma, dipped his feet in the portal for about 48 hours. And I think, either Nagy or whoever wised up and was like, you know what, let's pay this guy some money. I know he only had 12 tackles or whatever last year, but he could be a difference maker on the defense there.
They like him, man. They really like him. They're high on him right now. He's projected to start in the middle of that defensive line. I think he's obviously the stars and the recruiting and all that makes it. But like, you know as well as I do, man. Those types of cats don't grow on trees, bro. Yeah. Those big interior defensive linemen that run like linebackers, like that guy does. I think he's going to make some noise this year for Oklahoma. And that was a big bringing back for Oklahoma to get him to not go somewhere else.
Yeah. What's the word on Bo Atkinson?
Bo Atkinson, edge rusher from North Carolina. Again, one of those guys. He hasn't committed yet, but these guys that we're talking about are the ones that we're talking about that could really make a difference for some of these programs. Right now, Bo Atkinson, edge rusher from North Carolina, is down to, looks like Ohio State or Georgia.
Pretty solid options.
Exactly. So that just tells you all you need to know about this cat. Obviously, Ohio State and Georgia got really good players on their roster already. If they're sitting here late in the spring, after spring ball has already ended, trying to add a guy like this, they're not adding some just depth piece. They're adding Bo Atkinson to come in and play right out of the gate, especially with the talent that he was at North Carolina.
Ohio State needs it too. That's from everything coming out of their spring practice, spring game, whatever it was. Defensive line was the big weak spot for them, especially D tackle. But if they can get a guy off the edge, that'll take off some pressure up the middle.
Yeah, man. I mean, when I watched him play a few times last year, he just honestly jumped off the page.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a great pickup for whoever gets him.
Yeah.
Gio Lopez. Speaking of North Carolina, Bill Belichick's first quarterback as a college football head coach will be Gio Lopez, transfer out of South Alabama. Again, watched him play a few times this last year. He's solid, man. Mm-hmm. He's a really good dual threat. Really good with his legs. Really good athlete. And he's one of those that when people think dual threat, you just think he runs the ball. No, he is really, really good at throwing the football, layering the football, and he's a good athlete running the football. So I think that they've got a solid QB there. Honestly, you and I talked about this a while back. We were talking about certain G5 quarterbacks that probably could go somewhere in the P4 that could make some noise. Gio Lopez was one of those.
Yeah.
So he's going to be North Carolina starting quarterback, it looks like. Georgia brought in 3 all on the same day. Josh McCray, running back from Illinois, who was a solid tailback at Illinois. He'll be a good depth piece that Georgia needs.
Solid as a rock, dude.
Yeah. Well, they just lost Branson Robinson at Georgia. Georgia's really looking for more of that. They were looking for somebody to fill that void of Robinson, kind of that big physical, short yardage type back. McCray can be that. I'm sorry if I butcher this name. If you listen to this show long enough, you know that I'm known to do it every now and then. But Elo Madozi is how I'm going to say it. It's respect the troops. A former Army Black Knight. He made Tyler here a lot of money because Tyler bets on the troops just about every single week and somehow comes out winning almost every single week betting on the troops. And your boy here hardly ever tells him. Don't know why. But edge rusher Elo Madozi, dude, he just looks like a Georgia edge rusher, bro.
Dude, I just got to say it. Is there more of a stark change in scenery than going from West Point to the racing capital of the world in Athens, Georgia?
No, man, it's the racing capital of the world. Dude, I saw all these, you knew it had to come. As soon as he committed, I saw all these mentions underneath the commitment tweet and stuff that were like, Kirby really wanted a, what was it that I saw? It said, Kirby doing what Kirby does, recruiting nothing but discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. That dude's a locker room leader before he even gets there, I'm sure.
Yeah. They basically probably told Mendoza, like, hey, man, you don't get any car keys when you come here, bro. This cat's like 6'3", 245, runs like a receiver, edge rusher.
Yeah.
Again, man, one of those moves again. We'll be sitting there halfway through the year. Georgia's playing in Knoxville, and there's Joey Aguilar getting sacked for the third time in the game with this Elo Mendoza, the transfer out of Army. That's probably what will end up happening here with Georgia. And then Joshua Horton was an interior defensive lineman out of Miami. All three of those cats, Mendoza, Horton, and McCray, all transferred with like in the same day. What was it that you tweeted out, the Rock meme?
Yeah.
About Micah Hudson, wide receiver?
Rock's, you guys are WWE fans. Rock's always like, finally, The Rock has come back. And he says the city, but Micah Hudson, man, finally, he's going back home. He's going back home to Lubbock after transferring to College Station, maybe getting in a fight or two. And now he's back to Lubbock, back in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I guess.
It hasn't officially been announced yet, but it looks like everybody's predicting that's where he's going. I think he was flirting around with Utah a little bit.
It really makes me, I don't know about you, it makes me question programs when they take dudes like this back.
Yeah, man.
I know there's talent out there, right? And Texas Tech's got a bunch of oil money, and they're just throwing it around. Man, like it's like Texas Tech's one of those teams right now who's like, we've been talking about it. It's the Wild West, right? They're like, let's spend as much money as we can before they get a handle on this, because we've only got a couple of years here. We can maybe win some games, and we can build up our brand. Then people will start coming after we get NIL and revenue sharing under control. But for right now, let's just throw all kinds of money. And they're spending money left and right with the Notre Dames, the Ohio States, the Georgias, and basketball with the Dukes and the North Carolinas and Kentuckys. Like it's insane what's going on in Lubbock.
Yeah, everybody came for Notre Dame came for the GM there at Texas Tech. Other programs came for the GM there. Texas Tech said, "Nah, here's even more money. Like what? Here's a blank check. Stay here." No, you're right. In the facilities there are nuts. I mean, we're known. You're a little hesitant on them now because they cost us a little bit of money. Like we were all over their win total 2 years ago. But I'm still
That's
a Guns Up
fan.
fan.
I already see people talking about them this year.
Oh, I'll be talking about them. Don't worry. I'll be throwing tortillas here up in the air on the show. I'm a known supporter of Guns Up. They can burn me again. I'll let them burn me again. Where's Trevor Pena going? Is your guess as good as anybody else's?
I mean, all indications early on were Penn State, and Penn State was going to pay him a couple $1 million to come play there and try to catch the ball from Drew Aller, but
good luck.
I don't know. I mean, USC's out there. I think UCLA's out there. Now they've got a quarterback. I don't know where he's going to go. He's
supposedly he's visiting USC, UCLA, and Miami. Honestly,
he's a Xavier Restrepo clone almost.
Well, I was going to say, truthfully, out of all the programs, including Penn State, where he should go out of that list that we just talked about, he should go to Miami.
Yeah.
They need another receiver after losing their top two to the NFL and losing Isaiah Horton to Alabama in the transfer portal. They do need another, like a good pass catcher running routes through that secondary, and I think he could be solid there for Miami.
Yeah, but out of those four schools, Miami's probably got the worst quarterback. So
I knew you were going to say something about that, guys. If you've seen the video of Hannah Cavender bashing
my
Carson
girls.
Beck, I think Hannah might have texted Tyler to get some pointers on how to bash Carson Beck. Tyler is not a Carson Beck
fantastic
fan.
Job by her.
Yeah. And the last one here that we'll mention in the transfer portal, just because we're going to be talking about this team a little bit more this offseason. We're known respecters of old Willie Fritz. Really good coach. Year 2 at Houston. The Big 12 better watch out for the Cougs this year in year 2 in the Willie Fritz era. And they got a really solid pickup in the transfer portal. Again, I may butcher his name, but Tanner Koziol?
Koziol, yeah, sure.
Koziol, there we go. Tanner Koziol, tight end, ton of yards, catches, TDs at Ball State this past year. He was at Wisconsin long enough to maybe grab a beer on campus at one of those awesome bars there, maybe 2 beers, but that's about it. He came to Wisconsin for spring ball.
Yeah.
Wisconsin was high as hell on him, talked about how much they loved him
Yeah.
and what a great fit he was in there, and he obviously didn't get the memo. He got in the transfer portal and transferred to Houston. I only got one thing to say on that. That's a great pickup for Houston. The only thing I want to say on that is, where are you as a program right now for Wisconsin if you've got like a guy that you were really counting on as maybe we're not talking about a backup piece or a guy that you're counting on being a really big focal point and can make a difference for you. Didn't leave you for Georgia.
Yeah.
Didn't leave you for Bama, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon. Ray left you for Houston.
Yeah, we've said it, man. It's a make or break year for Luke Fickell, but I mean, Houston's got that money, and I mean, props to that tight end. He might have a future first round quarterback throwing on the ball.
I'm never going to live that down. We're not going to go there right now. We may talk about that at a later date, but like we said, guys, we're about 50-50 on some of the things that we talk about.
Everybody listening thinks we're 0 for 3 right now. So
that's true. But hey, we can eat crow on this show.
Yeah,
we won't just count our wins. We'll talk about our losses too, and nobody makes fun of us more than we do.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna leave the floor to you here.
Yeah, that was it for the portal. Let's close it out with a couple of news stories. And first in the news, we'll start with the comedy one, news story. If you saw in the latest news out of Boulder and Dion and all those guys, I'm sure y'all saw that Dion, his son Shedeur Sanders, future NFL quarterback, and Travis Hunter, who is looking to be number 2 in a lot of mock drafts for the NFL draft coming up tomorrow night. They got their jerseys retired at Colorado. We're talking about a place that has won a national championship before. Mm-hmm. A place where they've only had 4 jerseys retired ever. One of them was Rashawn Salam. The other 3, kind of some offensive linemen here and there. No Cordell Stewart. No Eric Bieniemy. No Michael Westbrook. No, a lot of guys.
No Joe Klatt.
No Joe Klatt. And it took the Colorado AD regime, Dion probably had a lot of say in it, let's be honest. It took him 4 months to realize, you know what? Travis Hunter should get his jersey retired. And you know what? I'm not even that upset about that. Like if I was a Colorado alumni, I'd be upset about the timing of all of this. Like the 4 months, like give it some time to marinate, man. Give it a year or 2. Travis Hunter, generational player, Heisman Trophy winner. Great. Shedeur Sanders, not a generational player. 13-11 record at Colorado. Yeah, he turned them around from year 1 to year 2. Got absolutely blasted in the bowl game literally less than 4 months ago. They were playing, and they just got absolutely worked by BYU. I just think this makes an absolute mockery of retiring jerseys, and it's just such just when you think Dion and Colorado are like building up some goodwill in the minds of the people, they go and they do something like this, and it's like, you just drain that respect meter in so many people's eyes.
Yeah, I just think that it more so just lessens, like you just said. I think it lessens the the eliteness of what it means to have your number and name, and like in hoops having your jersey in the rafters, and football having your number and name immortalized basically in a retirement like that. Like that is a only reserved for again, like you said, 4 people before that. Ever.
This guy,
ever in Colorado football history. And I just look, Shedeur is obviously extremely talented. Like the dude is unbelievable. He was really good at Colorado. He was running for his life constantly with just a booty cheeks offensive line. He had a ton of weapons to throw it to, but he was really good. But like like you mentioned, the record that he had, he wasn't generationally good. It wasn't like just like Colorado's program, for the history of Colorado's program, is like not just changed. Some people were saying like Colorado's program has changed forever for the good because of Shedeur and Travis Hunter and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, like we do not know that yet.
No,
We don't. And we definitely don't know that 4 months after this past season just ended. So I've got no problem with the Travis Hunter thing. I do agree with you. They probably should have waited. Like, who am I to sit here and say when they should do it? Like, still, like, I'm my own personal opinion. Yeah, I do think they should have waited a little longer. Like, worst case, wait until the freaking season and like do it like doing some big home game or something to bring some fans there or whatever. But yeah, I'm not with it on the Shedeur deal. And I was actually surprised that there were as many that were outspoken about it that they didn't agree with it either, including a lot of Colorado alums, even someone like Joel Klatt, who has been the most outspoken person in a positive way from the very beginning about Shedeur and Dion and Travis Hunter and the Colorado program in general as a proud Colorado alum. Like, even he was like, yeah, I just think that this kind of cheapens having your number retired and your jersey retired and your name immortalized for a football program to do that. So I'm with you, man.
While we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, I've seen him mocked to places like New York, playing for the Giants, New Orleans, even Pittsburgh at pick 21. And all I've got to say is that if it's not Pittsburgh, you better hope that dude is a really, really good quarterback and is going to get you some wins in his first year. Because if he doesn't, Mike Tomlin's not going anywhere in Pittsburgh. But Brian Daboll and I think Dennis Allen still might be. I don't think Dennis Allen's still in New Orleans.
No, it's Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore's
okay,
the Saint.
He's probably not going anywhere, but I'm just saying, you get Shedeur Sanders there and you struggle that first year, all that chatter is going to be about Dion leaving Colorado and going to take that job at wherever his son is playing. Because if we're talking about this kid too, this is something the guys need to take into consideration. I'm sure they have. This dude has not played for anybody but his daddy. Like, Jackson State, like, this is like his college experience. Like, he's leaving home for the first time.
Yep.
And he's going to play professional football. And he's not going to have his dad there to look over his shoulder. So, yeah, like you said, man, he's talented, but man, it could get really slippery pretty fast if you draft him. So I don't know. Teach their own.
I don't disagree, man. Like, as far as the antics that would come, the PR stuff that would come along with it, which I promise you, man, I can guarantee it. Some of these NFL teams are absolutely thinking about that.
Yeah. All right, let's finish off, man. Here, let's talk about the great Lee Corso, calling it a career. Week 1 this year will be his last week on College Gameday. It'll be interesting to see where they go because that week 1 is pretty stacked. He's going to do one last headgear pick. It probably could be Ohio State, Texas, to see him put on Brutus one more time because that's kind of like, everyone talks about the headgear and they kind of just think of Brutus. Like, that's just who Lee Corso's been associated with. He's picked Ohio State probably more than any other school. Give me, what's your favorite Lee Corso moment on game day? If you can just pick one out of the air. I got one right off the top of my head, but I'm going to let you go first.
I've got two. One was a game that I was at. I was at the 2008. Yeah, fall 2008. If you're an Alabama or Georgia fan, you definitely know about this game. But the Georgia blackout against Alabama. I went to Athens, my first trip ever to Athens. It's still to this day, man. Shout out to the Georgia fan base and to just the atmosphere that you put on there overall, tailgating, everything. Still the most fun I've ever had at a college football game. And I was a Bama fan, a visitor that was there. We got there early that day, tailgated all day, went to College Game Day that morning. To be honest with you, that was before the Saban dynasty had started. That really, in my opinion, is what kicked it off, was that day. And I'm there in the crowd. I'm just happy to be there. I didn't think that Alabama had a chance that day. They were pretty substantial underdogs going into that game. and was just enjoying the atmosphere. And then when Corso went to do his pick, that was the famous "that dog is ugly" deal when he looked at the Georgia dog and then he put on Big Al's. Like, I was in shock that he actually chose Bama that day. And then I had a few beverages in me, had a little liquid courage as a very young college student at the time, a little underage, and I ran around the rest of the day thinking that the Tide had a shot. And then, of course, Bama ended up clapping those cheeks for Georgia in Athens that night. Total beatdown. It wasn't the blackout; it was the knockout.
Yeah.
So that one, and then I'm not gonna say the word.
Yeah. Houston.
But F it.
Yeah.
Was it Houston?
That was mine. Houston. I think Carl Lewis was on the panel with them.
Yeah.
And
he took the helmet and said, F it, and just threw it.
And I feel like they were probably playing. I mean, that was back in the American. They were probably playing someone like SMU or Cincinnati or something like that.
Memphis or Cincinnati, yeah, somebody like that. I would imagine.
He had the megaphone and that's in the. I mean, just so many other ones. Like, he's just a character. I think that the headgear, all that stuff should be retired. Like, nobody else should do it.
I agree.
That should be the thing. Like, that just goes.
You want to talk about something immortalized? That's immortalized, bro.
Like, can you imagine
headgear pick is immortalized?
Can you imagine them somehow talking Nick Saban into putting on headgear every Saturday?
No, man. I'm sure that McAfee's deal that he does, hyping the people up. Like, again, no headgear. Like, I agree with you, man. There's nothing else in sports unless I'm just not thinking of something in all of sports, bro.
Yeah.
There's not anything like that everybody, even if you're not even that big of a fan of college football in general, about the Lee Corso College Gameday headgear pick.
Even if you don't watch it, you're turning your TV on at about 11:58 a.m. Eastern time, and you are going to see who Corso, what headgear he's going to put on.
Dude, I can't tell you. You and I both been to so many games, and like we're places, obviously, too, talking football with a lot of people. You're so right, man. Like, everywhere you're at around that time, especially in the era of smartphones, you see people sitting in stands at little pee-wee sporting events.
Oh, yeah.
Or in restaurants, people turning their heads at the TV. You're tailgating, and you don't have TVs around you. People are like, hey, is Corso put his headgear on? Who's Corso picking?
Yeah.
Like, everybody, man.
Yeah.
So an absolute legend for the sport that we love.
Yeah, good for him, man.
It'll be strange not having a Corso headgear pick, man, but I agree. Retire that thing with him, and what an awesome, awesome deal. That'll be week 1. I'll definitely be tuning in. I'll be tuning in to game day, obviously, but no matter what I'm doing, when that 10:58 Central hits, I will be tuned in to College Game Day, making sure I see who Corso picks for his last headgear pick.
Yeah, good for Lee Corso. Congrats on a great career. Definitely one of the guys who kind of pioneered college football for the past 30 years and kind of college football coverage and everything. So, and old coach of Indiana football here in the state. Yep. So that's it, man. I'm glad that we were able to grace everybody's screens and your car speakers once again after a long layoff. But we're going to be back. We're going to be back better than ever. Like we said, spring window's closing, and that means rosters are getting set. And we're going to start diving into some rosters, and we're going to start diving into some power ratings and power rankings. We're going to be able to know exactly what depth charts are going to look like and kind of start breaking down some teams and everything.
You know what that means when rosters start getting set, Tyler?
What's that?
It's list season.
List season, man.
List season, baby.
If you follow
list season.
If you follow us, man, we'll put them out on socials. Our list. Top quarterbacks, top running backs, wide receivers, every position you can think of.
Jerseys,
coaches,
helmets.
Coordinators, all that.
Yeah. Jerseys, helmets, stadiums, atmospheres. Doesn't matter. We'll be throwing out lists left and right this offseason, especially Tyler here that he's gotten all good in the graphics game.
Don't expect too much. Appreciate you guys listening and watching. We'll be back next week with some more thoughts.